Looking for a home that keeps you connected to Silicon Valley without the usual barriers to entry? The Gates in Morgan Hill by City Ventures is a walkable neighborhood near downtown restaurants, outdoor trails, and an easy commute to the Bay Area. It's a small town setting with access to major career hubs. Every home is all electric with buyer-owned solar included. With limited availability, now's the time to take a closer look. Discover your new home at cityventures.com. That's cityventures.com.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Your coffee would never get cold. Your flight would always be on time. And your mattress would always respond to you and your unique sleep needs. Sleep Number mattresses are designed to respond to your body and shift with your changing life, helping you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number. To a good night's sleep.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or mental health advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the podcast and are not intended to malign any religion, group, club, organization, business, individual, anyone, or anything.
I'm Sarah Edmondson.
And I'm Anthony Nippy Ames, and this is A Little Bit Culty.
We woke up from a cult, and that journey was captured in The Vow on HBO and in my memoir, Scarred.
Now, in this podcast, we break down the shame and secrets that make these experiences so destructive with honest conversations on how seemingly benign groups can cross into the cultiverse and how to spot and recover from trouble if it happens to you.
Each week, we bring in experts, survivors, and whistleblowers to explore red flags, resilience, and even share a few laughs, because sometimes you gotta laugh.
Subscribe to our Patreon for early and ad-free listening, some live Q&A, and exclusive content at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Welcome to Season 8 of A Little Bit Culty.
Hey everyone, welcome back to A Little Bit Culty.
Today's guest is here to challenge a belief that so many of us carry, that if we're struggling, something must be wrong with us. Liz Tenuto, also known as the Workout Witch on social media, is a leading expert in somatic healing, helping hundreds of thousands of people understand what their bodies have been trying to say all along.
With over 230,000 students and millions following her work online, Liz is changing how we think about stress, trauma, and healing, shifting the conversation from fixing ourselves to actually listening to our nervous systems. Her new book, When the Body Speaks, is a guide for anyone who's ever felt stuck in patterns they can't think their way out of.
Drawing from her own experience with trauma, Liz is a survivor of a cult of one and will share her story with us. Liz brings both depth and clarity to this conversation as we explore why trauma isn't just something we remember, it's something the body carries. I personally found this episode unbelievably helpful, and I can't wait to share this episode with you.
From panic and shutdown to chronic tension and burnout, we're unpacking what's really happening beneath the surface and how to begin working with your body instead of against it.
Not only did we love the book, we loved this chat so much, but trigger alert, we do talk about some upsetting issues, and we ask you to listen with care. Here is part 1 with Liz Tenuto.
The Workout Witch.
Liz, welcome to A Little Bit Culty.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited. This is like, I know we've never met before, but this is one of the bonuses about our podcast is we get to have like one-on-one chats with people that we really can learn so much from. And it feels like, wow, we have like a bonus coaching therapy session with an expert.
Yeah, feelings too.
Yes, I'm excited.
We are too. And this is like, you know, you've got a huge following. You've really like tapped obviously a much needed market. TikTok has, catapulted you. Is this accurate? TikTok and Instagram, or mostly TikTok?
TikTok is my foundation. It's where I built my business. And then I started cross-posting to Instagram.
Oh my goodness. We're the opposite. In fact, TikTok, when it came out, I was like, I'm never going to learn that. It's way too complicated. And looking at your success, I'm like, I guess maybe I should. But
did you learn TikTok or did you have someone come on and?
I actually taught myself TikTok when I was like deeply depressed and I couldn't get out of bed. after leaving my abusive marriage. I was like, let me just download this fun app and watch people dance. And that's what I thought I was doing. And then I was like so sad. And I was like, maybe I should try to post one of my exercises per day on this platform. I have 0 followers. No one can see what I'm doing. And I was too embarrassed to post on Instagram to like my 1,700, past colleagues and friends and stuff. So I was really sad. Yeah. I was really sad. I was like emaciated and, just so sad. And I was like, let me just see if I can create this visual journal for myself. And this is a way to hold myself accountable to doing my own exercises. And then I gained like 10,000 followers in 3 weeks, which was shocking for me. I thought it would be super niche, and I was just documenting my own journey, and it blew up.
Amazing.
That's great.
So that's sort of how social media can be so incredibly useful and reach people that, you didn't even know needed to be reached. Let's give our listeners a little context as to why you're an expert and why you're on this podcast. And just so we get solicited by publishers and PR people all the time. And often I'm like, that sounds really interesting, but I don't really see the cult angle. And that was my first thought too. And then when I looked into a little bit of your story, I was like, oh no, this is perfect for our podcast because A, you have the lived experience, and B, you found a route out. And our emphasis is so much on healing, and we're always looking for different tools to give our audience. So I'm so excited that you're here because I feel like this is an area that we haven't explored yet fully. I mean, we have dabbled. We've talked about trauma, and we talked about PTSD and CPTSD, but we haven't really talked about somatics specifically. I'm so excited to give you a platform on our platform and to introduce our audience to what you do. So tell us about how you got here.
I was in an abusive marriage. I believe that my ex-husband was a narcissist. And I think a lot of cult leaders are narcissists. I'm not diagnosing them. It's just kind of a pattern of behavior. Yeah,
it's a feature. Yeah.
It's kind of a pattern of behavior that when I watch cult documentaries or I hear stories about cult survivors, I'm like, wow, they experienced coercive control and like incremental, insidious, escalating abuse, similar to how I experienced in my marriage. So I got married. I got like love bombed, which is where, at the beginning of the relationship, they treat you super well. They seem like your dream partner. And we moved to marriage really quickly. We were only dating for like a little over a year before we got married, but I was so excited. I was like, this is my dream person. Everything was great. And then right after we got married, like a switch changed. It was like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. And financial abuse started, emotional abuse started, and then it just like slowly escalated and got worse. There was isolation, stripping you down in terms of like your identity, like losing your identity. And those things I think are really similar to what I've heard cult survivors experience as well.
Do you feel like you were targeted?
I feel slightly like I was targeted. I was like really open and empathetic and generous and kind, but also in a way kind of naive. Like I didn't realize that people could be that abusive, like I didn't understand that. And it was something that like I couldn't make sense of. And even it took me a long time, even after getting out of the marriage, to be like, how could someone like pretend to love you but abuse you at the same time and like live with you and like be doing this as like their full-time job?
Well, the precursor to their abuse is usually the love bombing. So that's when the abuse starts. And the reason I ask that is, we do a lot of interviews for our book. And one of the things that I really try to emphasize is these people are strategic and know exactly what they're doing. And that is the hardest thing for people to get their heads around when it's over, is like, oh my God, this person did this from the beginning. It was strategic. And it's a very hard thing for, as you say, someone like you who's empathetic to project that kind of malevolence into someone who's behaving in a very exemplary fashion to set it up. that is the hardest reconciliation I find for most people. Just the fact that they do it and the fact that those people exist and they're strategic in how they target you and all those things is a very hard thing to
It's a hard pill to
that's
swallow.
a dark, dark side of humanity that these people are out there and oftentimes thriving.
Yeah, and it's really scary. What does the love bombing look like in a cult situation?
Well, it's similar in that when you meet somebody who's trying to recruit you or bring you in, you feel connected. You feel like you feel good. You feel warm and fuzzy. I mean, for me, and by the way, I'm going to send you a copy of our next book, which has a whole chapter on love bombing and how I got love bombed and how Nippy got love bombed was different for me.
Didn't really. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, but the book is broken down to here's the pattern, here's how it happened to me, here's how it happened to Nippy, and here's how it happened to a couple guests. So our readers get a really clear sort of template of how different it all looks, but it's also the same. But usually it's just like a lot of affection, I felt like I found my tribe. I felt really excited and it was very fast, very quick. Like this is my new life purpose.
I would also add, like with the body of work that we have, and not to paint too broad of strokes and get it gender specific, but it's normally men who target the empathy of women. Right. And so like most women that at least that I've come across don't have this dark triad that you hear about right now. It's mostly a male feature. And I'm not picking on men per se. I just think there's more, or maybe more men are successful at it and more women are susceptible because they have more empathy and they target the empathy of women. And if you're empathetic, you don't really have that dark side. So the elements of surprise is always going to be there. And they know that. They know that they could even do a bad behavior and you would never project bad intent into them. So they can actually make a lot of mistakes until you catch on to like, wait a minute, this guy's a dick. Like, this is what he does.
Totally.
This is what he does. And like, there's a body of work that to suggest that, hey, maybe this guy, but he has a lot of leeway with empathetic women, I think. That's kind of my theory and what I put together over.
And we as women go, oh, we had a bad childhood.
Yeah. Totally.
You justify it because you have to also have to justify your decision. Right?
Exactly.
And they know that, right? They go, what are you going to do? Leave now? Like, it's kind of like that whole, like they've got you trapped and dependent. So it's like, that's the first setup of abuse because now you're in and you have to do a lot of things to inconvenience your lifestyle to get out of it.
Yeah.
And you talked about that in your book, how you were trapped specifically in COVID, which made it very difficult to leave.
Yeah. Physically trapped.
Yeah.
Yes,
like, where are you going to go?
You can't go to the grocery store.
So during that time, and now that you know what you know, and I think you'll maybe get some even more nuggets if you have the time to read our book, but looking back, like what were some of the initial red flags that maybe you missed because you didn't have the knowledge you have now?
Before we hear from our sponsors, just a quick reminder. Our book, A Little Bit Culty, Navigating Cults, Control, and Coercion, is officially out and available on Amazon.
Signed pre-orders have closed, but you can still get your copy today. This book is the culmination of 5 years of conversations, interviews, and research. Everything we've learned about how people get pulled into high control groups and how to avoid, escape, or heal from them.
If you've been listening to the podcast and want a deeper go-to resource, this is it.
Available now on Amazon in print and as an ebook for Kindle. And yes, the audiobook is coming soon, narrated by us.
Just search A Little Bit Culty and grab your copy. Do it.
Thanks, everybody. Did you skip over all the ads? We hope you didn't. Thank you to our sponsors and thank you for listening. Now, let's resume our culty convo.
There were random charges on my credit card sometimes when we were dating that I was just like, and I had never had financial issues before dating him. I didn't make a ton of money before dating him, but I had always, been able to pay my bills and I wasn't in a lot of debt or anything like that. But I was like, what is this $1,000 charge? Did I do this? And I was like, maybe I did do this and I don't remember. I think I was kind of trying to be like, it must be my memory because I'm also a trauma survivor from childhood and have CPTSD and knew that at the time. So I was like doubting myself instead of doubting him because he would have had to like go into my drawer and like open this little cubby where I kept my credit card when I wasn't home and then, make the charge. So there was also another thing that is hard for me to share, but right when he moved in, all of the data got deleted from my computer and from my external hard drive. And I went to the Mac store and they were like, there's nothing that we can do. And that was awful because I lost all of my files from like age 18 to 30. So it's like my life got like completely erased. And I thought it was me. And I thought like, oh, I must be bad at tech, even though I'm not bad at tech. And then when we got divorced, like right when I left, the same thing happened and all of my files got deleted and my external hard drive got deleted, like right after the separation happened. And it was in the exact same way. Like the computer looked the exact same. And I was like, oh my God, I think that my ex-husband is doing this. And so I went to a like tech security specialist and he had installed a remote access device in my computer. So he had all of my passwords. He had like,
oh my God.
Yeah, like everything. And, those were two early red flags that I just blamed myself for instead of ever thinking that this could be.
But why would you think that's the whole thing? It's such a malevolent like thing to do. Why would you think that he's even capable of that?
Yeah. And I noticed
it's crazy.
It's crazy. And I noticed that like erasing people's identity and like is actually something that happens in like extreme religious situations. I used to be obsessed with watching Escaping Polygamy. When I was getting out of my abusive marriage, it was very soothing for me to watch these other women leaving abusive marriages as well. A common feature was that like after they would leave, the family would burn all of their belongings and they would cut them out of photos and just kind of like completely delete them from their lives.
I'm going to send you an episode we did with Amanda Ray Grant, who helped with Escaping Polygamy and also was in a very abusive polygamous sect called The Order. And if it brings you soothing.
Yeah.
Did you
careful, Sarah?
Yes. I'm like, I think The Order is Warren Jeffs, right?
Just said he's shining.
Wait, Warren Jeffs is FLDS. The Order is somebody else whose name I'm forgetting right now. Did you watch Trust Me about Sam Bateman on Netflix right now?
I did. I watch all of the Mormon.
You watch all of them?
Yeah. It's like it's my soothing shows.
Yes, I feel you. So that episode just dropped this week with Christine Marie, the incredibly brave woman who went in to help those women. And crazy cross story is that she knew and briefly dated our cult leader, like 20 something, 25 years ago or so. Anyway, it's a small little polygamist culty world.
Small cult world we run in.
And is your cult leader still like active? And
no, he's in jail.
Okay.
If you love cult documentaries, we have some homework for you.
I'm really excited. I was like, this is going to expand my awareness of cults.
I believe
you'll see the patterns. You'll see how he targets, and when you see some of the women, it'll put language, hopefully, to your. Oh my
goodness! I mean, we could do a whole other side episode with you after you've watched The Vow on HBO, and you could analyze. There's a whole the women were sleep deprived. They were thin as fuck. They were not eating properly. They were on 300 calorie diets. They were all there's a whole somatics thing we could do analyzing that. But
he sucked their life force.
He really did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're going to focus on your book and interweave some stories as we go. Okay. So I just realized that, obviously we personally have to laugh because that's where we're at in our journey, but what happened to you is very serious. And also we sort of touched on it to say that I want you to expand however you want, or just to say that you did undergo sexual childhood abuse.
Yeah.
And also was assaulted when you were 14 and roofied, which I think, well, to what extent do you feel like that's important for people to understand your journey?
Let her hear.
Yeah.
I think it's a foundational part of my journey. Like my baseline was completely disrupted at such a young age. My baseline for safety, like, was never there, especially within relationship with like the people that you're closest to. So the childhood sexual abuse occurred with someone in my extended family. So my parents would fly my brother and I out to Chicago every summer by ourselves without them so that they could like take a little break. And we stayed at my grandma and grandpa's house, but I have like a really big extended family on that side. And I slept out in the living room. And I don't have the best memories because I was only 7 or 8 when it started, but I do remember, I have some dissociative amnesia from that whole phase of my life because neurologically that's something that can happen when you experience trauma like that. Like your brain can't process it and then you kind of like can't remember it for a certain part of your life. Once I started feeling safer and started healing, I did get a lot of flashbacks and a lot of memories came back. But I do remember that, I remember a lot of the sensations that I had while sleeping there. And I remember calling my mom the next day and like begging to come home and telling her that there were monsters in my bed and just crying and begging and telling her I didn't feel safe. Please let me come home. Please fly me home. And she was like, you're fine. You're fine. Cause she thought like I didn't have the language for what was going on. And that continued every year that we went back until I was about like 12 or 13. And then I was on a family vacation in Mexico and I was only 14 years old at the time. And I got left alone at the pool and the lifeguard came up to me and was like, do you want a margarita? And I was like, 14. I was like, yes. And, he had roofied the margarita and then I got sexually assaulted then. And that, like, while that sexual assault was happening, I remember having this thought, not this again. And so that was when a lot of my childhood stuff started resurfacing for me. And then as I did somatic healing, it like resurfaced even more.
Well, first of all, I'm so sorry that you went through all that. And yeah, I think that's how people suppress it and then it comes out later. So it's such an important thing to understand because I think that people don't they don't have a concept of even how that happens, like why you wouldn't remember it, or maybe they start a healing journey and things start to pop up and then they maybe doubt that it happened, or it's such a complex.
Yeah, it's also vague too because you're dealing with memories. So it's a hard did you go through, do you trust your memories? Like, did you,
yes.
I'm sure there was that's a hard one.
Yes. Well, also having the CPTSD diagnosis, I was like, am I just having like a trauma spiral right now? Am I, is this real? And my therapist was like, you literally can't make up flashbacks. Like they're real. You can't, like, they're real. So yeah.
Well, thank you for walking us through that. I know that's sort of like the template to, maybe missing some of the red flags with your husband. Let's skip to, how did you finally leave? Like, what was the final straw and how did you get out?
This episode would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. Let's hear what they have to offer. Sponsor break's done. Back for more culty stories.
So it was COVID. So I didn't really as I was starting to realize that I was being abused, it was early COVID and it was the time. And at least in California, you couldn't go even to your closest relative's house. It was deep lockdown. And so I was just taking baths and trying to make my exit plan in the bath because that was the only time that he wasn't bothering me or heavily monitoring me. And so that was my little safe space. And so I was trying anytime I could to like set $5 aside, $10 aside. But I was really like digging into what had happened. So prior to COVID, I worked like 6 days a week because I was the breadwinner for us and I supported us financially. His full-time job was just like abusing me, apparently, even though he said he was like a quote unquote musician. He made no money. And there was just a lot of financial abuse. And I kept trying to bring it up and be like, why is our money gone? Why is our money gone? Like, I'm making so much more. I'm working so much more. Why is it gone all the time? And he would never, like, he got kind of physically aggressive with me when I would bring that up. So I got really scared to bring it up. And he also had done a lot of things like, because he had access to all of my computer passwords and everything, he had like locked me out of our joint account sometimes. So he would like change the password and then change the 2-factor to go to his phone. So when I would try to do like a password reset, I wasn't able to get in because I didn't get the 2-factor. He was like intercepting my mail when I was gone all the time, like working. He would intercept my mail and then, like essentially like just pay the minimums on my credit cards so that my credit score didn't tank. But like he charged over $30,000 on my personal credit cards while we were married without my permission or my knowledge. So there was just like so much financial abuse going on that I started really digging into that during COVID because I was a Pilates instructor and I lost my job at the beginning of COVID because the gyms were closed in California and the studio that I worked for couldn't afford to keep us on. So I finally had all this time to like look into what was going on. And so I was like, instead of doing a 2-factor, I was like calling the credit card company or calling the bank to get access in. And I was spending a lot of time on it. And when I started seeing the financial abuse on paper, I was like, oh my God, like this, like he's stealing from me over and over again. And it was just really intense to see it all laid out like that, like transfers of $5,000, $10,000 to these other accounts that were just in his name while he wasn't working. And I was like working so hard. I had no energy to do anything else. So the financial abuse was like the thing that really made me realize I was being abused. And then I also realized like, wow, I think I've been brainwashed in the course of my marriage. And that was really scary for me as well.
How'd you figure that out? Like, where did that thought even come? Did you see something or read something?
There's gaslighting going on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that like he made me trust him a lot because he also had a background with sexual assault as well. Like he was sexually assaulted in his childhood. So we had like this common trauma and we had trauma bonded over that. And he had always presented to me until like the end. And when he got like really physically aggressive, he had always presented like very understanding and very supportive of me. And so, and then, he said little things like when all my tech got deleted and all my data got deleted from my computer. The first time when we were still together, he was like, oh, you mustn't be that good at tech. Like, and I was like, never had anything like this happen before, but that story, like, cause I trusted him so much. It was like, and he was my husband, it was like, maybe I'm not that good at tech. Like, maybe that is what's going on. Maybe I need to like teach myself tech and get more financially savvy. But I just really started to doubt myself a lot.
That's gaslighting.
Yeah, that's like classic gaslighting to do the thing to you and then make it
and plan it out.
And then make you think that was your problem. That's
yeah.
And this guy sounds he's very good at what he does.
Yes. He was raised Pentecostal actually, and his dad was a Pentecostal preacher. Another red flag that I ignored was that he told me that his dad was a master manipulator. And I was like, that's terrifying. And he was like, don't worry, I'm not like that. And I was like, and then, now I know he is exactly the same.
And have you met his dad?
I met his dad. I didn't,
do you think
he's
a master manipulator?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you have to be if you're a Pentecostal priest, but that's my
opinion. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I
I'll die
do
on that hill.
too. Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I didn't really get to know his dad. We actually lost our apartment during COVID because of the financial abuse and because I wasn't working and continuously bringing in all this money. And so we had to go live with his parents. And then that was another thing for me where I was like, whoa, he is exactly like his dad. And I could see how manipulative his dad was really easily because I didn't have that trust with his dad.
Oh, right.
Yet.
You said that in your book. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So much to cover here. Let's try to condense it so we can get into, what you've learned. But I guess, okay, everyone loves
say it led you here.
It led you here, but everyone loves a good escape story. How did you actually
we can't.
How'd you get out?
Here's your guitar solo.
Yeah. So there was an incident that happened where I was cleaning the garbage disposal and he turned the garbage disposal on while I was cleaning it. And I looked at his face and his eyes were black and I could, he had this little smirk and I was and I luckily pulled my hands out really fast and I just was like, hey, this was later in COVID and we could go out again. I was like, hey, you should go to that music studio that you go to. And I was really calm about it because I had learned this technique from Dr. Ramani called narcissistic fluffing, which helps you when you're about to escape. So you're it's not, obviously I'm not advocating doing this long term. It's really helpful when you're leaving to appease the narcissist and so that they don't think anything's coming. Right. So I was just really calm. I was like, hey, you should go to the music studio, have a great day. I'm going to just keep cleaning the apartment. And he left and I just decided this is the moment. I don't have as much money as I wanted to have for my escape plan, but this is the scariest moment that I've had with him so far. I could have destroyed my hand and I got to go. So I called him. And I was like, hey, you can't come back to the apartment. I'm terrified of you. And I know that you've been transferring large sums of money out of our account. And I have it all on paper. And you can't come back. And he was like, you can't do that to me. We're married. I'm coming back. And I had already filed a police report on him and was in the process of getting a restraining order. And so I went to my apartment building and asked them if they would change the locks, and they did. And so he couldn't come back. And I didn't feel safe in the apartment. So I actually slept in my car for a few nights with my dog because I was just really scared. But then essentially I just didn't let him come back to the apartment. There was a day that I said you can come get your stuff, but I moved everything out for him and also wasn't at the apartment during that time. And my mom came up and kind of helped me right after that. But I realized I couldn't stay in that apartment long term. I was terrified. I had knives out and I was just in such a bad state.
You were hypervigilance.
Yeah.
As I learned.
Yeah. I mean, he vandalized my car in the apartment garage because he still had access to the fob for the building garage. So I'm pretty sure he's the one that vandalized it. I don't know who else would have done it.
Probably a very high chance that was
yeah.
The pattern would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was it?
Were you able to extract yourself pretty clearly?
I mean, no. So so that weekend, that was when the second data, all my data got deleted from my computer that weekend that I kicked him out of the apartment. And there was just a lot of I was trying to get access to some of my own internet. I had already started the workoutwitch.com at that time and stuff. And I was trying to get my domain back from him and he wouldn't give it back to me. And there was just any way that he could try to control me, he did. But luckily my parents got me a tech security person to help me look into everything that happened. And I got all new devices. I did a lot of things to protect myself. I spent a month kind of undoing the tech abuse aspect. And it was a full-time job for me for a month. And I was living in a hotel for a minute. I was living in my car for a minute. It wasn't smooth at all. And spending time with my parents right after that, I realized like, oh, all of this childhood stuff came back up where I was like, oh, they have a really similar dynamic to what I experienced, just like at a much lesser scale. So I had to like call my brother and ask my brother to come down and help me. And I ended up staying with my aunt and my uncle. And it was just like I was homeless for 4 months or so.
Oh, that's so destabilizing.
Yeah.
On top of everything else. And meanwhile, you've established yourself as the workout witch on TikTok and you're doing this. How did you get into somatics? Like, where did that?
And why workout witch?
I lovingly joke that I am a witch, but really I'm just good at healing. Yes. I'm just good at healing people's bodies in a very non-conventional way. And the workout witch is just like such a fun name. It's so much better than Liz Tenuto Somatics. But what was the first question that you asked?
Oh yeah. How did you get into somatics?
Oh, so I was a professional dancer and my ballet teacher noticed how dissociated I was when I was not dancing, when I was like 22. And I knew I had PTSD from the sexual assault at the time. And I was like, yeah, I have PTSD. And she was like, you should try my somatics class. And I was really skeptical because I had seen her somatics class before our ballet class. And it was just a bunch of people rolling around on the floor in their pajamas. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to help me with dissociation. I also had like really bad sleep issues, you know, which connects to my trauma. Like I didn't sleep after a lot of that happened to me for like 10 years. So I was like, I don't get how this is going to help me with like sleep issues and dissociation. But I cried in the bathroom after my first session because my body felt so good. And then after 4 sessions, my insomnia was like almost gone and nothing else had worked for me that well. Like I had tried doctors, specialists, alternative stuff like yoga, meditation, acupuncture. I would try anything. In my early 20s, I was like a wellness junkie in my early 20s. And that was the first thing that like really worked for me. And then when I started looking into it, I was like, oh, this is like an incredible way for me to blend my background with movement and dance and Pilates and my obsession with that with my obsession with healing.
Okay, perfect. So when we come back for part 2 on Thursday, we are going to hear all about what Liz, the workout witch, has learned, what the book is about, and we'll get it more into what somatics are, how to put them in your life. And if there's time at the end, Liz has also offered to diagnose unofficially Nippy and I and some of our body challenges and maybe give us some exercises specifically for us, which I think would also relate to so many of our listenership who are on a similar journey. So come back next time for part 2 with the workout witch.
Sinking down to the depths of the ocean, hanging on to the wave of my love. If I let go of it all, I could leave, but I know I won't.
We hope you're enjoying A Little Bit Culty. If so, please do show us some love. Drop a rating or leave a review. Hit subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/alittlebitculty.
Even better, send this episode to someone who needs it. Maybe they're in a cult. Maybe they're just a little bit susceptible. Or maybe they just love a good story. Spread the word, spread the love. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
A Little Bit Culty is a Trace 120 production.
Executive produced by Sarah Edmondson and Anthony Nippy Ames in collaboration with producer Will Rutherford at Citizens of Sound. Our co-creator is Jess Temple Tardy.
Our production coordinator is Leslie Dinsmore.
Writing by Sandra Namoto and social media marketing by Eric Swarzinski and Brooke Keene.
Our theme song Cultivated is by the artists John Bryant and Nigel Aslan. If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Your coffee would never get cold. Your flight would always be on time. And your mattress would always respond to you and your unique sleep needs. Sleep Number mattresses are designed to respond to your body and shift with your changing life, helping you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.